Hello again. I'm sorry I took a few weeks, but I've been ironically busy during this self-isolation type activity, if you can call that an activity. So I've been thinking about coming back and resuming my taping for quite a long time. And my original intention of what I wanted to do was to just kind of teach, or at least demonstrate, by way of playing songs. But I think I took that as far as I can. And I'm still going to play songs and post them if a song floats my boat, or someone gives me a request or a suggestion for something that I agree with, or I think, oh yeah, that would be a good one to do, or if I could just help out, if someone really wants me to do something and I like the song enough to spend the time to learn it. But here's my general plan for what I'm going to do, and I ask for your patience because I think I have a really good plan, but it's going to take a lot of kind of laying of the groundwork, so to speak, before I can actually really get into what I want to impart to the people who are going to be watching these videos. So I kind of have a three-step process in mind. If anyone has ever read Shakespeare or the Bible or Charles Dickens, or someone who's a extremely prolific author, or a book which is a huge the works of Emily Dickinson or something like that, there's a thing called a concordance, which basically you can look up any word and it'll tell you each instance of that word in whatever work the concordance is for. So my original plan when I conceived this about 13 years ago was to make a concordance of neologisms. In other words, common things that are persistent throughout his career or start at a certain time in his career and then are repeated so that they're kind of his. So a couple of instances just off the top of my head are that familiar ting 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 ride cymbal pattern that is probably in 30 or 40 songs, or the flam foot chugga 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 thing that's in a bunch of songs, or the snare where it goes da 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 da. He does that all the time. So what I'm going to do, and this is why it's going to take a long time, is go through every single song from Anthem to The Garden, and first of all I'm going to just listen to some mixed CDs that I have to get some ideas. Oh yeah, that's a neologism. That's a neologism. And then I'll come up with maybe 30 or 40 of these things. And then I'm going to go through all the songs and write down the exact timestamp and make a little clip, an MP3 of that 10 or 15 seconds or 30 seconds or however long it takes. And then I'm going to demonstrate like the 7 different ways to play that ride pattern. Because sometimes he inverts it, sometimes he doubles it up, sometimes he makes it shorter, sometimes he does it every alternate bar, things like that. But it's the same skill, technique, sound, and dynamics. And, well, sometimes it's not the same dynamics. So the very heavy hammer on the bell sound at the end of, or in the chorus of Cold Fire, for instance, is the same rhythm, but it's so ting 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 ting. Whereas if you play the beginning to Test for Echo, it's just lightly right on the bow of the ride cymbal. But it's the same, and if you go to losing it, it's even further off the bow, and it's like a nice light touch. But it's the same skill, the same finger control, the same definition of the heavy and the light notes being distinct that you need to really get down for that to come together, and then be able to do whatever else you need to do on the other three limbs. So that's just one example. So that's my first kind of goal. So it's going to take a little bit of research, but I think I'm going to do some introductory videos with me playing, because I know you don't like my voice and my face and things like that. So I'm going to do some introductory videos on the drums where I actually play some things that, in order to give you a taste of whether you might want to start this journey with me or not. And I'm sure you'll have a decision after the first or second video that I do. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make, once I've done this concordance, I'm going to do a digested kind of a legend like a map has a legend, or perhaps a glossary in a book, so that I'm going to make a little emoji or a little icon for each. So there'll be one for independence, there'll be one for odd time signature or just time signatures, there'll be one for BPM, what's the speed of the song, and then on each video, I'm not going to do these from easiest to hardest or anything like that. They're just going to be whatever I feel like doing, and I'm going to exhaustively do them all. But on YouTube, when it says, it gives you the title of the video, and then you can say see more, and it goes down, and you can put links in and things like that. So the very first thing I'm going to have in each video is, what does this song entail in relationship to the concordance that I demonstrated earlier in the first 45 or 50 videos. So this will give specifically beginners and intermediate players an indication of whether they should try that song, or whether they are at a stage to attempt to play that song. Because the most common question I've had in the last 14 years is, what's the easiest Rush song, or what should I start with, or things like that. Well, there are certain songs you shouldn't start with, obviously, but depending on what you already have a skill at, you could more easily choose by looking at this short little legend that I'm going to put in each video. Oh, yeah, okay, I already know how to do independence between my right hand and my left hand, and I can play fairly fast. I think I can play 126. And then you can say, okay, I'll try that song. But if it's got, time signatures 9/8, 7/8, 13/8, and 5/4, all within 8 bars of each other, and you know that you're not good with odd times, you might want to wait a couple of months and work on that specifically. Maybe go back to the videos where I demonstrate odd times, and then practice. Because with all the videos, I'm not going to just demonstrate them and say, well, this is what I mean by the ting-to-ting ride pattern. I'm going to show you what it means, and I'm going to make up sheet music to demonstrate what it looks like and how to play it, and what the difference is between the straightforward way and the upside down way, what it looks like on paper, for those of you who can read, for those of you who want to learn how to read. And then the third thing I'm going to do, I've kind of just told you what I'm going to do, is I'm going to go through all the videos and start making up these legends and showing you what you need to know, including little tips on idiosyncrasies or idiosyncratic chops that Neil used in maybe just that song, or maybe only 2 songs. So it wasn't necessarily a Neil-ism, so to speak, in that he his longevity and frequency of use made it a neologism, but it is a neologism because, wow, that's really cool. I never heard anyone play that before, but he only plays it in this one song. So that's what my plan is for the beginning. I really want to teach. I love teaching. My original, as I said, intent of ever doing any videos was not to say, oh, look at me, I know how to play drums. It was to impart what I've learned over 30 years, at the time 20 years, 10 years, 15 years, and show you how to do the same thing. So that's my intention, and I like a kind of a thumbs up, thumbs down, or maybe in the comments you could say, yeah, I think this is a good idea, maybe you should do this as well, or maybe you should cut that part out, or you could modify this part this way, and things like that. So any suggestions? I'm not going to start this right away in terms of doing videos, but I've already started listening to getting some ideas for the neologisms that I'm going to put in, and when I play Rush, I always say, oh yeah, you got to remember that in these 3 songs that happens, and vaguely where it is. So I've already got a good start, and I've got a pretty good idea of what I want to include, and so I'm going to do all that research, so I probably won't see you for at least another few weeks. But tell me what you think. If this is a good idea, do you think? Would you be willing to go and spend a year or 2 with me and learn as much as you want? And this is kind of like, my own method, because this is the way I learned to play the drums. As Neil has said many times himself, he had a toolbox that kept increasing, and whenever he needed to do something, he took out one of those tools and he could do it. So this is what I did. By playing the best music, I learned all these pieces of how to play stuff just by necessity. So I learned how to play really fast 30-second notes on my bass drum, 30-second note triplets because I wanted to play John Bonham music, and I couldn't do it unless I did that. So that's what I learned. So I'm gonna, trust me, if you take this journey, or even just a little bit of the journey, not only will you learn how to play a lot of Rush songs, but it'll improve your drumming and your facility on the instrument, so that you can more easily learn other songs as well. And this is, yes, of course you need to walk before you can run, but if you can learn to run really well, then walking is really no problem. So that's my plan. Let me know your comments, and I'm going to have another video up pretty soon about some frequently asked questions, just to get this thing rolling, get some familiarity back with you guys. I'm okay. I just took a voluntary leave of absence because of various issues in my life, including, trying to raise my son for 13 years on Thursday. And now I'm back. So I hope you enjoy and follow me along on my journey, and it helps you guys. So let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you in a bit.